All right, today we are going to talk about real life success stories. And the first one I want to talk about is a couple. They're Asian. We'll call them J and C. And they had 4 failed IVFs. Now, there are quite a few stories that I have with couples who've had 4 failed IVFs. They're all different stories. In this case, at that time, I asked for 3 years because they had 4 failed IVFs. They were 40 years old. Um, the AMH was extremely low. Uh, the doctors did not seem positive at all. She had gotten pregnant before me. This is all before working with me. The 4 failed IVFs, the natural pregnancies with miscarriages, the at least 2, 3 failed IUIs. This is a woman, they were both in finance, and dad worked in finance, mom had worked in finance. This is what her testimonial says. After 17 years of working in her career, she stopped working a year before she met me. She knew in her heart of hearts that she had to get to a place where she felt calm because she knew that her work was causing her to have elevated stress, which was causing all of these failed attempts, the IVFs, the miscarriages from natural pregnancies, the IUIs. So why is this a special case for me? Well, as over 20 years of practice at that time, I really had to understand these couples. And it's pertinent that I say that they're Asian because I can tell you many women who want to have a baby wanted it yesterday. Being an Asian woman, I know there's a particular mindset when it comes to a career woman who is Asian. She's going to get it done and she's going to go all the way and she's never going to stop until she gets the job done. This was that woman. She was a high profile career woman in the world of finance. And by the time I met her, she already had 1 year not working. She was seeing a therapist every week. She had worked with other Chinese medical doctors, all of them who did not help her achieve what she wanted. And we worked and we did my protocol. And we would have gotten the results much faster at that time had her husband participated much sooner. My protocol includes mom and dad because every time I work with mom and dad, we get the results much faster. I'll talk about a different case later, but a very similar case. That couple got pregnant in 6 months. In this case, mom and dad got pregnant in 12 months. I asked for 3 years. I still underpromised and overdelivered. When she was at 10 months, mommy saw her traditional fertility specialist. Now, this is during the time when I was creating my protocol, and it was imperative that daddy be in the protocol. At that time, I did not, I let daddy do whatever he wanted. He was a hard person to convince. When she saw her physician, her traditional fertility specialist, he looked at her uterus and he said, "What are you doing differently?" She was 40. He said, "Because your uterus looks like that of a 27-year-old." In her testimonial, that what her exact words were, the fertility specialist told her that her uterus looked beautiful. Her exact words to me was that her uterus looked like it had reversed in age to that of a 27-year-old. Very different. So he said, he's a traditional fertility specialist in Irvine. He said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "Oh, I'm working with a new acupuncturist." I said, "No, no, no. You tell him that you're working with Dr. Dolopo because I have a particular protocol." It was then that the husband, saw the numbers of her lab tests, saw the results from the ultrasound I believe it was the ultrasound of the uterus, and he decided to come see me. Now, my protocol is comprehensive. There is no stone unturned, including a specific intimacy protocol. There are quite a few steps that make the natural pregnancy fertility specialist very special, very unique, and I've scrutinized my protocol since 1999. So then C decided, he asked his wife, Jay, what would you like for me to do? Because he knew at that point that she was putting in all the work, but he was not. I got her periods perfect. She was so much calmer. The lab tests were perfect, not in range, perfect. It was on the higher end of range. It wasn't on the lower range. That is important. Just because you're in range doesn't mean that it's perfect. There's a process in helping mommy become a perfect baby palace. So then Jay said to Daddy, well, you're not participating. I could never get her libido from a 2 to a 10. As soon as Daddy started, her libido went from a 2 to a 10, and they got pregnant in 2 more months. That's why she got pregnant in 12 months. Not the 10 months, it was the 12 months. So Mommy and Daddy got pregnant naturally, and instead of 3 years, it was 12 months, but I know in my heart of hearts she would have gotten pregnant sooner.